the Bach 111. You ever heard of that?
No.
British aircraft.
Huh.
It looked like kind of like a DC-9, and then I flew the 727.
That's awesome.
I got to fly Alaska's airplane with Braniff on an interchange route.
Cool.
The airlines were regulated back when I was flying,
Huh.
and so you couldn't just fly where you wanted to. You had assigned routes. So airlines would team up where they had a lot of passengers going somewhere and keep you on one airplane, so you didn't have to change. So some days we flew Alaskan airplanes from Houston to Seattle. Then Alaska pilots would fly on into Alaska. Other days we'd be on a Braniff airplane and Alaska pilots would fly the Braniff airplanes into Alaska.
That's interesting. Wow.
We had a lot of interchange routes. I got to fly Pan Am 707,
Whoa.
United's 707s, Eastern
really cool.
727.
What was it like flying the 707?
I love the 707, especially the Intercontinental.
Yeah.
It's just a nice, roomy airplane. Good performing.
That's cool. I've always liked that one.
Yeah, I like the shape of it.
Yeah.
It's a real nice shape.
That's cool. Was the cockpit pretty similar between the 707 and 727?
Very similar. 727 just had one less engine to deal with.
Yeah. That's cool.
Now, Bill, I read this morning that there was they were looking at supersonic transports at one time, and Boeing canceled it. But did they ever get a exchange program with the Concorde?
Yes. It was a publicity thing. It never did make any money because of the operating costs,
Right.
but they got a lot of publicity. We just flew it from Dallas to JFK.
Oh, wow.
And couldn't fly it supersonic Concorde over the States.
Who was the operator? Who owned the airplane?
Well, Air France and British Airways. A funny story there. I got up to JFK one day and tried an approach as below minimums, and you don't have a lot of extra fuel in that. And then so immediately they go to Dulles. And they get over to Dulles, and those people, carts that take people out to the airplane on, couldn't reach the door of the Concorde. They ended up, the fire department bringing a ladder out and people climbing down, basically an extension ladder. And I thought, could you realize the liability there? One person falling off that ladder.
And it's up there too. They got one at the Museum of Flight. That thing sits up there pretty good. My goodness.
The Vietnam War was going on, and we had a military contract flying troops and personnel to Vietnam. Sometimes it'd just be to Honolulu, where they'd meet with their husbands. The wives would, for rest and recreation. But lots of times the airplanes would come back empty occasionally, and the government paid cost plus 10%. So you're not going to lose. Matter of fact, they paid off about 4 707s for those contracts. But the guys learned you could buy a car over there in Japan, a used car. You wanted it used because of the tax ramification. So we had a pilot bought a car over there. They put it in the 707 because it's coming back empty. Well, they normally landed in California always, but they get a call from dispatch, and they reroute them to Seattle, Washington for a regular trip, and they get up there and don't have a way to get that car off. don't have the ground service equipment to get the car out of the airplane. So they ended up having to truck a set of whatever they needed. It was a big wide deal they used for cargo. They had to truck it up the highway from Los Angeles or San Francisco to Seattle just to get his car off. Our chief pilot came out and said, "Gentlemen, henceforth," that was his favorite word, henceforth, "you will not bring anything back larger than a hibachi pot."
Oh my goodness. I bet you that used car wound up costing him probably a little bit more than he expected. Could have bought a new one down to dealership, probably cheaper.
Now, when I flew out of Miami, I did a lot of flying to South America, and our hub down there, our main hub, was Lima, Peru.
Huh.
And we'd be gone sometimes 17, 19 days. And the company had a deal with a hotel down there, the Hotel Creon. They would do our laundry. So we didn't have to carry a suitcase that big, with clothes. And we'd get the same room, so we could leave whatever we needed laundered, and we'd be gone a day or two on down in South America, come back to Lima, we'd have fresh laundry, clothes and stuff.
Not a bad deal.
Well, one of our captains took down all the draperies out of his home, took them down there, and had the hotel to clean and press his drapes for his entire house. We got another henceforth letter. Henceforth, you are limited to $8 per day for laundry and dry cleaning.
That is hilarious. Since that falls under the one person pees his pants, everybody gets diapers clause.
That's it. That is it.
Right?
As I said, our operations manual was about that thick. They said if it wasn't for about 8 or 10 pilots at Braniff, it could be that thick.
Right. That's right. Or is sometimes called the unsilent minority.
Now this happened about 2 years before I went to work for Braniff in 1965. They had a layover in La Paz, Bolivia. Now La Paz, Bolivia is 13,300 feet above sea level. And a lot of people even have trouble breathing that altitude. And the ones that ended up at the hotel lots of times would take all the oxygen bottles out of the airplane, take them to the hotel with them. Well, we had a captain by the name of Don Spiegel. This was back when the captains were God. And his hobby was making model airplanes out of balsa wood. You know what balsa wood is? Make models out of real light. Well, La Paz, Bolivia happens to be the balsa wood capital of the world. And Doc Spiegel had a layover down there in La Paz, and he went out and bought a balsa log, DC-7 airplane they were flying. He was going to put it in the aisle, let passengers step over it and tie it to the bottom of the seat. So they bring this balsa log out to the airport to put on the airplane. Well, if you can imagine that door on that airplane, you try to get that balsa log in, you can't make the turn. The balsa log's too long. You just can't do it. Well, you'd think he would cut it. No. Told the mechanics, take the windshield out, the captain's windshield, and we'll open the cockpit door, put it through the windshield, through the cockpit door, and that'll work. Well, they get a platform out there and start taking the windshield off. And those windshields are heavy. I've tried to pick up one on a 727. I can't do it by myself.
About 27 ply, right?
That heavy, 3 ply.
3.
And, well, there's local mechanics down there. They're native from Bolivia. guess what they do? They drop the windshield. Splatter it on the route. Well, he has to call dispatch. Got a broken windshield. They said, well, our next flight into La Paz out of Dallas won't be until 2 days later. So they had to sit down there 2 days later. He gets the balsa log back to Miami. Has the mechanics take the windshield out to get it back out now. All for his hobby. And he didn't get fired. I don't think he even got reprimanded.
Did he get a henceforth?
I'm sure there was a henceforth after that.